It was 3:07 a.m. My hands inside a sedated mare's belly when the HOA president kicked my surgical doors and grabbed for the instrument tray. Alarms jumped the heart. Monitor stuttered, and I said without looking up, "Step out of my sterile field. Now or this horse dies." By the time the deputies cuffed her 3 feet from the table, every camera in my barn had already captured the moment her power ended, and mine finally stood up. I'm Dr. Caleb Rivers, large animal vet, the guy you call. When a colt slams a fence or a mare twists her gut at midnight, and I bought my place for a simple reason. 24 acres outside the Juniper Ridge HOA line, so nobody with a clipboard could tell me when I'm allowed to save a life. Sandcut Ranch, Pine. Mesa County, New Mexico. Old walnut trees. A weathered red barn. I rebuilt into a clean surgical bay and one skinny strip of gravel called Sandcut Road that runs across my parcel before it reaches the HOA sign. That detail turns out to be the hinge in this whole mess. First week cool morning, I'm unloading a new ultrasound unit when a white crossover blasts up the gravel like it owns the dust behind it. She steps out with that posture people get when they believe being first means being right. Blonde bob, pressed polo clipboard, gripped like a badge. "You can't run a business here without HOA approval," she says. "Ma'am," I tell her, "I'm outside your jurisdiction. Here's my deed. Here's the county survey. Your bylaws stop at your fence line." I point to the road she just drove. "That right there is on my parcel." Something flickers behind her eyes, but she doubles down. "That road serves 82 families. It has for 15 years. Easement was temporary," I say, steady. "Construction only. It expired. I checked before I spent my life savings. My emergency phone buzzes. Colic 10 minutes away. And when I climb into my truck, she slides in front of the grill like she's a gate. "You're not going anywhere until we resolve this." There's a horse twisting itself to death, I tell her, and I nudge around her dash cam. Catching time, plate the whole dance. The horse lives. When I get home, there's a laminated notice zip tied to my gate. "Cease all commercial activity in 72 hours. $500 fine, signed President Karen Whitman." I pour coffee. I'm too tired to drink and roll my maps on the kitchen table, the ones with my red pencil notes. The realtor hated. Pine Mesa Recorder Book 2741. Page 338, easement 2006-47. Temporary construction access expires. You have 31-2022. That line across my land glows in my head like a fuse. I'm not thinking revenge. I'm thinking about how long a foal can wait if someone blocks my truck to make a point. Next morning, the county arrives in threes. Environmental Health Zoning Building. All anonymous complaints. One inspector checks my biohazard logs. Another tests the DEA cabinet. A third reads the ag use permit I framed. Because I've heard about folks like Karen. "You're tighter than most human clinics," Health finally says. The zoning guy points at my permit and shrugs. Like, why am I even here? That night, flyers hit their clubhouse. Emergency community meeting. Threat to residential character. And a client texts me a photo with "Bro, you made the bulletin." I show up because you shouldn't let someone narrate your life without your voice in the room. Karen runs a slideshow. My oxygen tank labeled heavy industrial equipment. My driveway light labeled 24-hour operation. My truck labeled commercial fleet. And when she's done, I stand. "I'm the vet in your slides," I say, calm, licensed, insured, zoned, and outside your HOA. "Forget me. Show us the permanent easement that lets you cross Sandcut Road." The air shifts. Heads turn, not to me, to her. A woman in the front, gray bob straight back. Later I learned she's Dorothy Kane, retired principal. Lifts her hand. If I remember right, that easement was temporary, for construction trucks. Karen tries the spin. Continuous use establishes rights. Not at 15 years, I say. And not while the owner pays taxes and posts signage. I did both. Murmurs turn into questions. Questions turn into doubt. At 9:41 p.m. after the meeting, I get a whisper call from Evan Price, their treasurer. She's skimming, he says. Fake legal invoices, inflated contracts. 20-something thousand so far. She said she'd ruin my CPA license if I talked. We meet at the Mesquite Diner at sunrise, his hands shaking over a plate of eggs while he shows me parallel books. One for members, one for reality. And there it is, line items for easement litigation that never happened. By afternoon, I've got surveyor Leo Kramer rolling a bright orange wheel down sand-cut road, pounding pins, calling out bearings. And by evening, we're looking at a map that changes everything. Not only does the HOA enter the county road across my parcel, but their water main crosses my pasture with no recorded easement, and their playground fence leans 18 inches into my side, a swing-set post over the line like a boot toe across a threshold. You know what I mean. Then the blockade. 6 SUVs across my driveway like toy soldiers. My controlled substance courier idling on the asphalt, while my post-surgical antibiotics go warm in a cooler. I film plates with a shake. I can't hide, call the sheriff, and Sergeant Maya O'Neill shows up with that quiet that means business. Who organized this? She asks, and Karen raises her chin like she expects a ribbon. We're exercising our rights to protect the neighborhood from illegal operations. Blocking medical deliveries is not a right, O'Neill says. It's a crime. Tow trucks roll. One of the blockade guys asks if he can move without getting arrested. You can move because you care about animals, she says. Step aside. Yeah, that happened. When you push a bully, they either shrink or escalate. Karen escalates. A federal team audits my narcotics that dawn on another tip. And when they're done, the lead agent says, "You run a tighter ship than most hospitals." While he's zipping his case, the fire district calls. Barn fire, east side 3 horses. Trapped smoke-heavy owners, pleading for oxygen masks. And I fire the truck only to face a human chain across sand-cut road. Karen stands in the middle like a general for property values. I put the fire chief on speaker. Doc, we need you now, we don't have equine oxygen. And hold up a FaceTime from the scene ash and orange. A horse slamming a window with its chest like a heartbeat you can see. People flinch. A guy on the end slips his hand free and steps back. We break the chain enough to squeeze through. I drive too fast. 1 horse dies before I can get there. 2 live because people finally chose right over loud. That should have ended it. It didn't. Which brings you back to the surgery that opened this story. Bluebell on the table. 3 a.m. A twist we can fix if I keep my hands and my head right. The room hums. Oxygen whisper, EKG, tick my tech. Riley reading vitals in that steady voice. When the double doors slam. Karen marches in with 8 residents like numbers cancel reality. This ends now, she shouts. You will cease illegal operations. You're contaminating a sterile field. I say not looking up because one glance away can become the mistake a horse pays for. Riley hits the panic button that locks cameras and calls 911. Karen grabs the instrument tray. Stainless clatters. Bluebell's heart spikes, and I lose the soft voice. Step back, or this horse dies. That's not a metaphor. 2 of the folks who followed her in suddenly look like they found their conscience and step out. Karen knocks the IV stand. Riley snags at mid-fall tape screams as she secures the line. Sirens climb the driveway. Sergeant O'Neill takes the room in a second. Everyone out now. And the cuffs click. Bluebell's rhythm levels. I finish the line. We all breathe again. People like to imagine I felt triumph. The truth is, I felt tired down to the bones, and then I felt something steadier than triumph. Boundaries. That afternoon, Evan turns those parallel books over to the sheriff and the DA. The interim board schedules a removal vote for that evening. I don't go. I stand at the mouth of Sand Cut Road, where it meets the county blacktop, and watch a flatbed roll up with Steel Motors cameras, a proper gate with a dedicated emergency lane that routes straight to dispatch when anyone says emergency. It isn't a wall. It's a line that should have been written down and respected long before I bought this place. People call me selfish. People call me a hero. The truth sits in the middle. I did a thing I never thought I'd do. I closed the only road 82 families use.